So today I'll be reviewing Pokemon Journeys episode 108, Lucario and Greninja, the Aura of Destiny. This was a spectacular episode with us getting the return of Greninja and its training with Lucario, as well as some build up and development for Raihan before his battle with Ash. So let's talk about it. So the episode starts off with everyone watching a reporter on TV who's hyping up the next Pokemon World Championship match between Ash and Raihan, and Chloe finally seems to realize that Ash is actually relevant, while Go is bragging about his success, which was pretty funny. Then we hear Leon give his thoughts on the battle and says it'll be interesting before we transition over into Ash, who's training with all of his Pokemon. After the training, we see that Lucario wants to keep going, so it gets Cinderace to help it out, and while that's happening we see Chloe's Eevee battling Go's Froakie, which was a cool surprise, and this battle leads to Froakie evolving into Frogadier, and after seeing Frogadier, Ash decides that he wants to go see Greninja again, so he heads to the Kalos region with Go so that they can find it. And during the plane ride, Ash makes a reference to Ash-Greninja when he mentions that he and Greninja became one during battling, and he also says that Lucario's aura reminds him of that, so he wants to have them meet. After that we switch over into Raihan, who's with his fans taking pictures before he tells them that he'll win his next battle. Then we switch over to him thinking inside of his gym about how Ash has quickly risen up the ranks, before reflecting on his last meeting and battle with Leon and how pathetic he felt after it. We also learn that the reason he started taking selfies was because he didn't want to forget the regret after that battle. Then he says that he'll be the one to take down Leon because he's come too far to lose now. After that we see Ash and Go search all over all day for Greninja, and Go wonders if it's really around, and Ash says of course it is, and he's sure of it because they're always connected even when they're apart, which is of course a reference to what Ash said to Greninja when they last departed. Then we get a flashback montage of Ash showing his journey with Greninja and Kalos, from when it was a Froakie to the fight they had after the 8th gym battle, to it battling Alain in the Kalos League finals, which I wasn't expecting in this episode, so that was pretty cool. It makes sense since you can't tell the story of Ash and Greninja and Kalos without mentioning Alain. So after the flashback, Ash and Lucario get on the same wavelength as Greninja and are able to sense it, so Lucario goes after it, but the vines come out of the ground to stop it, and before it can land an attack, Greninja comes out and stops it, saving it as well as Ash and Go. And I like how we got to see Ash and Greninja instantly connect after making contact with each other, which leads to Ash commanding it again for the first time since Kalos. After that, Ash tells Greninja that they want to get stronger, so they want to battle it so that they'll learn something. So we get a battle between Greninja and Lucario, which was pretty cool, especially since Ash was able to read the movements of Greninja, which just goes to show how in sync they still are. But Lucario couldn't keep up at all since Greninja was on another level entirely, and even Ash's attempt at Mega Evolution failed because of how rattled Lucario was, which leads to it running away and Greninja going after it. And I like how Ash had the mindset to just leave them be because he understood that Lucario was just frustrated after losing since it wanted to be stronger, which is what Ash says makes it similar to Greninja since it wanted to be stronger too. So after that we see Greninja training with Lucario and connecting through aura, and then they both see that Ash is in danger, so they head out to help him, and when they both arrive we get to see Ash command both of them in battle while also battling in sync with Lucario, which leads to it Mega evolving and teaming up with Greninja. Then we see Greninja make a water shuriken, and along with Lucario's ultimate aura spear, which formed because of their bond and connected power, we were able to see them get rid of the final vine with an ultimate combined attack. After that, Ash says goodbye to Greninja and uses the same line that he used earlier in the episode when he says that even when they're apart they'll always be connected, which is of course a reference to their separation at the end of X, Y, and Z. And with that, the episode ends. This was a really good episode. Getting to see Greninja again was great, and to have it return to help Lucario get stronger is perfect considering the bond connection Ash had with Greninja and how it's similar to Lucario, which Ash also referenced when he said that Lucario's aura reminds him of Ash-Greninja. When it comes to Greninja itself, I really enjoyed seeing those flashbacks earlier in the episode when Ash was talking about their journey in Kalos. One thing I noticed is that they never showed the Ash-Greninja form at all, not in the battle with Alain or even the last scene in X, Y, and Z where it was definitely in that form when they departed. I'm not sure if they're trying to wipe it out of the canon or maybe just surprise the viewers of the show with it later, like they did with Serena, which would be cool, but I still found it strange that it wasn't included. The last thing I want to talk about when it comes to Greninja is the fact that it's still on the mission to protect Kalos, which I hoped would have ended by now, since it sucks to think that it might just end up doing this eternally because of an old forced plot point that should have died. Maybe one day we'll see Lucario and Greninja combine their power to get rid of it permanently. I'd love for it to join Ash's team, especially since it's stronger than Lucario while in base form, but until then it seems like Greninja is still a wild Pokemon. The last two things I want to talk about in this review are the Pokemon World Championship in two aspects as well as Raihan. The first is the line where Ren says that imagine if he wins the whole thing. in reference to the Pokemon World Championships, to which Chris responds by saying it won't be easy because he's facing the Masters 8, which is a simple line, but you can infer two things from it. One, that Ren is foreshadowing Ash winning and how impressive it'll be, and two, Chris is saying that Ash will lose because of how hard it'll be, which are both possible and will lead to interesting outcomes, which is something I'll talk about in another video. So now let's talk about Raihan. It was great seeing his reflection on the battle with Leon. I really enjoyed that aspect of the episode because it shows how much winning means to him and how dedicated he is to beating Leon in particular. I also like how they included the information from his rare Lucario where it talks about his reasons for taking selfies. It'll be interesting to not only see how the battle goes with Ash, but also how his story with Leon ends in the anime. So those are my thoughts on this episode. It was great from start to finish, not only with the return but also the battle. So I'll give it a 9 out of 10. With that being said, be sure to let me know what you think of this episode in the comment section below. Thanks for watching and bye.